Ever since I was a kid, I've been the kind of person who finds communicating with others to be bothersome. I was quite introverted and always devoted myself to reading books. Even my appearance. Well, let's just say I wasn't one to make much effort for that, so even boys found me off-putting, not to mention girls. However, I have a twin brother who is the complete opposite of me. That's Mike. Mike is handsome, good at sports, has a bright personality, and was popular with everyone, admired by both boys and girls. Although we twins had completely different personalities, we lived together amicably without any major quarrels. However, one day our parents died in a car accident. Until we graduated from high school, we were taken care of by our grandparents, but after high school, we each set out on our own paths. Although we brothers chose different paths, it didn't mean we had a bad relationship because of our contrasting characters. We respected each other and accepted our way of life. With this background, I trusted the path and the choices Mike made in his life, although we each ended up walking different paths respectively. As for me, I started pursuing my life without seeking any specific stable job. Instead, I was doing some work related to my hobbies, and also worked part-time at a coffee shop to sustain my life. Once or twice a year, Mike would send me a seasonal update, so I generally had an idea about his situation. Mike joined a top-tier company and seems to be climbing the corporate ladder quite rapidly. As his brother, it makes me feel proud of him. 10 years passed when I received a message from my brother saying he wanted to meet after a long time.
Hey, long time no see. You still don't care about your appearance, huh?
As if even my clothes brought back memories, Mike, who reunited with me, directed an unchanged, likable smile.
So, how are you doing these days?
I'm still working on my hobbies, and oh, I started working part-time at a coffee shop about 5 years ago.
Working on your hobbies? Well, I've always admired your sound belief on yourself.
So, why on earth do you want to see me after such a long time? Don't tell me you need money.
Ah, of course not. I'm actually thinking about getting married.
Mike was getting married. Although it was a shock, it was definitely good news. But there was one issue. Mike, having me as his only living relative, asked me to attend a meeting between the two families. However, as I have mentioned earlier, I'm not good at communicating with others and I'm not confident about my appearance. So I'm afraid that I might be a bad influence, and I refused. Congratulations, Mike. I'm so glad that you're gonna marry. But I think it's best to skip the meeting between the families.
Seriously? Well, I kinda expected that from you, big bro. Could you please at least come to the wedding ceremony? It's a once-in-a-lifetime celebration in my life.
Having predicted my reactions in advance and not allowing any escape from attending the wedding ceremony. Truly, that's my younger brother Mike. And so, even though I hesitated about going to Mike's important life event, I had made a promise and ended up agreeing to attend the wedding ceremony. I wore a suit that I had bought so many years ago that I couldn't remember when, and since I only had a black tie, I went with no tie to the wedding ceremony. The wedding ceremony was being held at a luxurious hotel, and my appearance was truly out of place. As expected, there were occasional curious glances directed towards me. Maybe I should just leave, I thought, but at that moment, I was spotted by Mike, who was greeting the guests at the venue before the ceremony began. With his usual smile, Mike ran towards me.
Oh, big bro. Thanks for coming even though you're busy.
When I said it's my younger brother's wedding, the manager at the coffee shop changed my shift. So I had no escape, and that's why I'm here.
I'm happy either way. By the way, Green, my bride is getting her bridal dress fitted. Here she comes, Green over here.
Saying that, Mike called the bride, Green, over to introduce her to me. However, on the way, the young women who had been giving me skeptical glances earlier suddenly exclaimed,
Hey, look, is that really Mike's older brother?
I don't think he has a seat.
He's working part-time at a coffee shop, even at his age.
He's so out of place here. Isn't he embarrassed?
Of course, those mockings were directed at me, and everyone around heard them. Well, I wasn't really enthusiastic about attending the wedding ceremony in the first place, and I had actually planned to just give a gift and leave quickly. Well, it seems like I was out of place after all. I guess I'll head back.
Big bro.
As I was about to leave the venue and walk towards the door, an elderly man approached from the other side.
Oh, father-in-law?
The man whom Mike called father-in-law was someone familiar to me as well.
Mr. Johnson, thank you for your support always.
Chief, that's my pleasure. As the bride's father lowered his head towards me, despite my inappropriate appearance, everybody around us became increasingly skeptical of what's going on. Apparently, now it was my turn to be taken aback. I never expected that the editor-in-chief of the publishing company I'm affiliated with would be Mike's father-in-law.
You two already knew each other. I know my big bro was a writer, but I'm so stunned.
That's right. Actually, the work I did as a hobby was writing. Specifically, the profession commonly known as a novelist in society. And the part-time job at the coffee shop was not to earn a living, but rather because it was a workplace suitable for observing people and it didn't require much social interaction. Originally, being introverted, I focused solely on writing. And gradually, I started observing people more for the sake of writing novels. Even though socializing is troublesome for me, I could get lots of inspiration for my writing from daily life. And it was actually Sam, who was a desk editor at the time, that read the manuscript I submitted to the publishing company. Afterwards, with Sam's support, I was able to publish my debut work.
Mr. Johnson, where are you heading?
Just as I received permission from the guests over there to leave, I'm about to head out now. Upon hearing that, even the female guests who chatted noisily just a moment ago seemed a bit embarrassed and changed their attitude. Wait a moment, are you Mr. Johnson, by any chance? Mr. Jack Johnson is going to be our brother-in-law. Green, the bride, came running towards me, breathing heavily.
I'm a huge fan of yours, Mr. Johnson. I read your works every time they come out, especially Brother's Heart, which my father also recommended. I love the protagonist in that book.
Brother's Heart was my representative work. And the truth is, the motif for the main character was none other than my younger brother, Mike. It seems that she has a keen eye for choosing great things and people. I expressed my gratitude to her as being one of my fans who have been reading my works, and conveyed my congratulations on their marriage. She graciously accepted the words of congratulations, and then apologized for the incident earlier.
I apologize for the rude behavior of my acquaintances earlier.
Wait a sec. Rude? No?
The women seemed a bit flustered, but now that they realized the context changed and surprised them, so they held back. Quickly looking at their reactions, Green, the bride, lowered her head to me once again. Oh, no need to apologize. It's something I'm well aware of myself, so it's perfectly fine. Please, lift your head. I responded sincerely. Despite being a part of this joyous occasion for the couple, I felt that I had my fair share of blame for disrupting the atmosphere. However, there was one thing I wanted to convey, so I turned to Green, the bride, once again. Since our parents passed away, Mike and I are the only family we have in this world. Mike is a good-looking and talented person who can get along with anyone, while I'm not exactly attractive and not particularly accomplished either. Moreover, I'm an introverted and grumpy person who finds it bothersome to interact with others. That's who I am. But there has always been one thing I believed in. That is, I never wanted to be a hindrance to my younger brother. Precisely because I respect his way of life, I shouldn't hold him back. I truly believe that Mike is a prodigious talent who can soar in the world. That's why, more than anyone else, I wish for Mike's happiness. Despite being an inadequate older brother, I ask that you both stay close for a long time. At that moment, Mike embraced me while shedding tears.
I didn't know how you felt, big bro, but I've always been envious of you. You've always lived true to yourself, being the person you are. So I followed your example and found my own path, one that I won't be ashamed of. I am who I am today because of you. Thank you so much for being here today.
While holding Mike, who was crying, I couldn't help but recall a certain childhood memory. It was back when our parents were still alive. Mike had accidentally scratched my father's cherished luxury watch while playing with it, leaving a big gash. Unusually flustered, my younger brother came home in tears. At that time, there was no one else at home except for me.
Owen, what should we do? Dad's precious, precious. Sobbing.
Mike came crying to me, clutching the damaged wristwatch.
I'll apologize too. Let's get scolded together.
Afterwards, we went to our father and confessed that we had been playing together and accidentally caused the damage. We were scolded together. Looking back now, I realize that our father probably knew that I wasn't the type of kid to be playing in the park. However, he treated both me and my younger brother equally and scolded us.
I'm always here for you as your big brother. If anything happens, you can always tell me.
I remembered how I had gently stroked my brother's head and said those words. It suddenly came back to me. Feeling a bit embarrassed, I reached out and gently stroked my brother's head after a long time. I hope you find happiness. And so, I bid farewell to Editor-in-Chief Sam and the relatives on their side, and left the venue. I didn't realize it at the time since I left the venue immediately, but it seems that the friends of Mike's who teased me were actually my senior colleagues from work. They happened to be present when the wedding was announced, and they felt compelled to invite themselves. Of course, since that day, Green has cut off all ties with those senior colleagues. Now, 6 years have passed, and as for me, since that wedding day, I've found a new direction for myself and have been busy with my writing. On the other hand, Mike's family has grown, and it seems to be livelier than ever. Mike has a son and a daughter, making them my nephew and niece. Before I knew it, I had become an uncle and I'm feeling the reality of it. Today, I am supposed to visit Mike's house. Green also mentioned that she wanted me to come and visit, but I don't really have the initiative to meet people. Mike, as usual, complained that I never contact him and don't come to visit. However, this time, I reluctantly made the effort because I have a gift. It's a bit embarrassing to say, but my work is being adapted into a movie. And just recently, I received a sample video. That's the gift I'm bringing this time. It's a human comedy drama that depicts my vision and wishes for the future happiness of my brother. I'm looking forward to watching it with Mike's family.